Started already?
Yeah. Thanks.
Great. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special session with Espresso Systems brought to you by Akindo. I don't know where you guys are tuning in from, whether it's morning, afternoon, or late night. We're so glad to have you guys all here. And we got an exciting session ahead today as we dive into what makes Espresso such a perfect project in a Web3 space and explore how you can get involved in ongoing Build and Brew hackathon. Great. Just before starting to like the main questions and so on, I just want to see if you maybe you guys can like drop a quick hello or like whatever the reaction when they're streaming that we can see you guys are from all over the world maybe saying hello to each other.
Hi, I'm
Yeah,
gonna start here. Hi everyone. My name is Mariana. I'm leading growth here, Espresso, also taking care of our developer go-to-market. We're excited to be here with Akindo. I think it was very kind of them to just bring this up together last minute after talking to us and seeing what was going on with the Build and Brew Hackathon. I expect everyone living here knowing what is espresso, why we're building, and the opportunities that we have with the current hackathon happening. And now I'm gonna pass on to it.
Good morning. I'm Whit. I lead product marketing at Espresso, and yeah, happy to be here and chat with the Akindo community about the Build and Brew Hackathon and about Espresso Network and kind of the problem we're trying to solve and how we solve it.
amazing, great. Yeah, we got like more than like 90 100 people like to join in today, and then it will be great for them to understand what's going on with espresso and then what they can build with espresso. Great. So to kick off here, so first question, what is espresso like, and how does it fit into the broader website ecosystem? Like, what kind of problem is it designed to solve? Maybe starting from Mariana or Whit.
Yeah, I'll take a early crack and then Marianne, you can fill me in. I mean, fill in the gaps. Um, it's the mission of Espresso really is to solve kind of the fragmentation within the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Like the roll-up centric roadmap, meant to scale Ethereum is great, but as we've realized, these roll-ups have created a lot of very isolated execution environments. I created a bunch of silos that are not composable. And I think, building, when you're interacting, blockchain technology, whether you're a app developer or a user, like you want the composability is one of the things that makes Web3, right? It makes building on chain different than just building something online. It's that composability, and so that fragmentation, right? Fragmentation of users, of liquidity, developers,
Mm.
um, is a problem that the Espresso team identified, and it's been working on the last few years. And the Espresso network is the kind of result of that work. And what it is a BFT consensus protocol that's
Mm.
designed to very quickly confirm um, uh, ordered blocks, basically from L2s. And so what happens is that before an L2 actually will kind of bundle up the transactions and send them to L1 for settlement, they send them to the Espresso network first for a quick confirmation.
Mm.
And again, that's backed by a BFT consensus protocol run by our node operators. And we will be very, very soon also migrating to proof of stake. Right now, we have a permissioned set of node operators, but we'll be going to fully permissionless proof of stake here in the not too distant future. So these confirmations are backed by that. And then the L2 sends the block to the L1. And the tweak to the kind of settlement contract, the L1 settlement contract is such that an L2 block won't settle unless it's identical to the Espresso confirmed block. So what this means is that any chain, any other chain, any app, any bridge, any solver um, can read an espresso block from an L2, and then the
Mm.
confirmation comes in like 5, 6 seconds right now, but we are targeting, we're going to get that number down.
Mm.
So L2 block will be confirmed in 5 seconds. Any other entity can read the espresso block, and as long as they trust the BFT consensus protocol, right, and our economic security and the protocol, they can for us that when they derive that block state, it's going to match whatever state if they as if they waited 15 minutes and derived the state after, L1 finality, right?
Mm,
And so, I guess it boils down to the fact that if we want these chains to be interoperable,
mm,
and from a user perspective, that just means, being able to seamlessly interact across these chains. Um, they just need to be able to communicate very quickly and in a trust minimized way. And so that's, and right now the only way they communicate is either slow and secure, which is passing messages via the L1, or fast and insecure, which is just centralized sequencers swapping, messages, right? And so we have, our solution is kind of the best of both worlds. It's more secure than centralized pre-confirmations, and it's faster than L1, waiting for L1 finality. And so anyway, that's the maybe a little bit
Uh,
more than TLDR, but that's
mhm,
the next.
mhm,
yeah, I will bring the TLDR right now. The
mhm,
TLDR, I mean, I think our audience is very technical, and I think we could solve
Right.
a lot of the understanding how it works under the hood and how Espresso can help with the composability space and challenge we have right now in Ethereum. But take it like this: what happened, right? Ethereum was expensive. We launched L2s. L2s were lacking like a good UX, and we were like more fragmented in terms of liquidity. We launched new bridge models and new intent solvers. These new bridge models and these intent solvers are backed by weak trust model assumptions. So right now they're just trusting pre-confirmations from centralized sequencers, and someone is taking risks on behalf of the user. So L2s are also lacking composability. And for these two problems, right now Espresso comes. And Espresso comes to fit in this gap. So we have this confirmation layer that is this BFT secure systems that will sit beneath the sequencers. And what we are really making is like Espresso is turning the word of the sequencer into something that you can actually trust or rely on. So we are just helping instead of like waiting for 15 minutes for the one finality, you have like a better word and a more trust word in 6 seconds. And then we can provide this better UX, better communication between apps without bringing this whole ecosystem and probably like a systematic risk. Just trusting like in centralized points of entity. That is where we came, right? We came from Ethereum. We came from building open composable systems. So we secure cross-chain messages in seconds, we enable seamless composability between rollups, and we reduce the reliance on opaque trust assumptions. These are more the TLDR, but I think it was a great interconnection.
Great. It was a great introduction, and I thought also like maybe it was like a touching also the next question, which is the what makes espresso unique, and then I think you guys already
Jumped
covered
ahead to that.
yeah most of it. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you guys want to like add like any I don't know technical part, and then also any even like a fundamental thing, or for the mass adoption side, if there's any unique part of espresso do, feel
Yeah,
free to share.
I think I would just add that like pre-confirmations aren't secure by Ethereum. That is like where we started from. They're secure by decentralized sequencing word. And like this word can be compromised, censored, corrupted, the whole system becomes too fragile. And when you
Mhm.
start understanding this and start understanding how some of the protocols or apps are building today, you wouldn't want to like know that like a lot of these confirmations are at least in fast seconds are just trusted by this pre-confirmations word. And if we are here like to build, I mean, I think we're looking for this future where we
Mhm.
have like this 1,000 rollups, but an application ecosystem that remains open, secure, and composable.
Great, great, great. Anything from you,
Um,
Ed? Yeah.
I will just say one thing to potentially correct some misunderstandings out there. You see, there's a lot of stuff on the timeline about espresso, and we've done some brand repositioning over the years, like just based on market feedback and stuff. And we are the espresso network is not a shared sequencer, so that's sometimes a point of confusion. At one point, we were working on the Espresso network and making that a shared sequencer. And technically, it's a BFT consensus protocol. It's very versatile. It could be
Mhm.
a shared sequencer. But in our current model, and I will add, so we launched on mainnet in November, so we are live on
Mhm.
mainnet.
Mhm.
And in January, we integrated the first chain, which is Rari chain, which is an Arbitrum Orbit L3. So they are now, using Espresso, fast confirmations. Um, but we're not a shared sequencer. So all these L2s or L3s that integrate, they can maintain,
Mhm.
their centralized sequencer, right? And that sovereignty and also the kind of the revenue, that comes from having the centralized sequencer. But the Espresso network allows them to kind of secure that sequencer because, once that centralized sequencer orders the block and sends it to Espresso, right? It's like that sequencer cannot now equivocate and then send something else to another party because obviously it will that block will not settle if it doesn't match what Espresso confirmed. So
Mhm.
it's not a shared sequencer, but it is helps kind of gain some of the benefits that decentralizing the sequencer gain.
See, that's great. That's great. And then also to the audience side, if there's any questions you guys have, like leave it on a comment, and then we can like follow up in the last section, questions from the audience section. Great, thank you. And then maybe developers and also our audience have a kind of basic understanding about what espresso is and what the unique points are. And then now we'd like to going to like the next one, which is like the main agenda of today's live streaming, which is about a Build and Brew Hackathon. So I would love to know, what is Build and Brew Hackathon? What's the purpose, tracks, project details, anything we need to know on the developer side? Happy to know. Please, yeah, if there's anything you guys want to, highlight, please do share.
Yeah, I think like the reason behind the Build and Brew Hackathon, first, this is our first interaction with a broad community of developers. And I think a lot of what is going on is experimental, and we would love like feedbacks and like a good interaction with the devs. We're constantly like doing office hours. Today we have a research/product office hour with our head of research. So we are trying to make these calls to one, have the quick understanding of developers about what is Espresso, help them to go along the challenges they're facing right now on building their project, but also like give them a sense in like how they can structure their project. So helping the product research and also engineering side. But the origin with the hackathon was we, us at Espresso, when we were very focused in building the infrastructure, we launched a mainnet network last year, November last year. So it was like the first time we were more live and able for people to experiment with us. But all the strategy was always like a B2B strategy in trying to get more chains adopting Espresso, which we have a great pipeline. But we do want to like interrupt apps. We do want people like to build on top of this network. We want people to benefit from these confirmations. So building Brew Hackathon came with like we want people understand what is a rollup architecture, what is Espresso and how Espresso works under the hood. So the first challenge on the Build and Brew Hackathon is just about launch your Espresso rollup. We provide a guide, it's a share pool price, so everyone following this guide, they're gonna receive like a portion of the pool price if they just meet the eligibility criteria, right? And it's pretty straightforward. We have guides for this. I think like we're gonna be sharing all the links here if anyone needs. So the first track is caffeinating code. Basically, take your glass of coffee, go through the guide, understand how it works to deploy a
Mhm.
rollup, understand how these transactions are being like confirmed and
Mhm.
interacted. You're gonna learn a lot about rollup infrastructure with that, not about much like smart contract developments, like rollup infrastructure. You're gonna launch a Orbit chain rollup. So Arbitrum was the first integration, first stack that we integrated with Espresso. That's why like Wit mentioned like Rari chain was the first chain that really integrated with us, and we have like this pipeline of Orbit chains that are integrating with Espresso. So you're gonna launch, you can do it on testnet. We have the guides, we have all the links with eligibility criteria, submission guidelines. Even like our Discord community is very alive and vivid with like all hackathon stuff right now. Even people from the community will help you if you face any problems, and we are here like today, tomorrow, Friday, and more days from the extension of the deadline. And the second track is okay, you launch a roll up, you understood how Espresso works. Now you know how to send transactions, read transactions. You're gonna read these transactions from this rollup that you launched, and you're gonna build like a cross-chain app, a simple cross-chain app. It could be like a cross-chain lending borrowing. It could be like a cross-chain like optimized yields. It could be like a cross-chain NFT marketplace, like paying one chain, minting another chain. Then in the second track, we are rewarding and we are giving this, we have judges. So it's not going to be like eligibility criteria, but we'll be like, we're going to be judging the best cross-chain apps, the best apps that understood how Espresso works, how to read from Espresso confirmations, and build value on top of that. So this is how the structure of the hackathon is working in this, in the reasons of the tracks, in the reasons of like how we end up building it. And I'm glad to go over more details. Taka, I'll let you like guide me through the questions as well. And wait if you want to add anything from what I said.
Great.
No, I think about yeah.
Great. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. So, since you guys are running like a big prize of hackathon, and then also like in a lot of the developers are registered already. And is there gonna resources or gonna mentorship program that kind of things are given from the provided from the Espresso systems
You mean mentorship programs like after the hackathon or during the hackathon?
during the hackathon?
So what we are making as the most communication with the devs is really like those hours that we have. So today's Thursday, we have like a product of hours today to solve and get and send feedbacks, and like sometimes even people say like, oh, I have this app, how I turn this cross chain. So we're gonna be here to answer these questions today, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So this is like 5 p.m. UTC. Tomorrow we have technical ops hours, and I'll also join, so
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
always ask more like product questions. We're gonna be answering on the support channel, but like a really mentor, no, we're just super open to communicate. We have people from across as well in our Discord to help with like any technical questions, boot node.
Hmm.
So in the composability track, something that I
Hmm.
didn't mention, we have this separate now, it's just like an added pool price that is for
Hmm.
who is building on the Open Intents framework. So Open Intents framework is an initiative led by Tree Foundation that just want to make like all the intents toolings and solver networks and everything we have right now in this cross-chain message passing interrupt space is scalable and easy to adopt in any new chain. So we are like incentivizing this GitHub repo to be more used by devs and even to devs to get the learning on it. So this is also in the second track, and we have these partners with us. There's like Across, Bootnode, OpenZeppelin, Hyperlane. They're
Hmm.
building, they're supporting this track, and they're also on the Discord to support any questions. So we have a great other partners to support and mentor, let's say.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Like, yeah, you guys are ready to have all those builders like building on Espresso and building with Espresso. Amazing. And then is there any like kind of tooling, like docs or any posts or any information like maybe developer really should, like check it out? Maybe from your guys are gonna pass sharings.
Yeah, I think our docs, we just revamped our docs, but also, Taka, if you can provide all the links that I shared with us previously, I
Hmm.
would start in two ways. First, I would go in Data Hacks, I would register as a builder. I would enter Espresso Discord just to make sure you can solve any questions super quick. Regarding like I need to get a start. So this you have two ways, depending how you like to how you take your learnings, how you prefer. If you prefer to read or prefer to watch a workshop. So on YouTube, Wait made amazing job. He handled all live streams, all our agendas, everything related to open ceremonies and technical workshops that we had, which was handling it. And he organized a playlist with all the workshops that we have since then. So we have a link for that. I would start with this workshop or docs. In our docs, we just have espresso related content, right? But then there's two important docs or tutorials that you should be reading from. That is first is like quick start with Arbitron Nitro rollups. You're gonna learn how to launch your rollup. And after is like reading from espresso confirmations. That is how you're gonna build your composability apps. So these are everything you need to and all the resources you need to really get started. And if you
Hmm.
run into any questions or problems, just hit us on the Discord.
Amazing, amazing. So you'll be on the Discord like most of the day, most of the time, pretty much.
When I'm
To
not
like,
sleeping, yes.
of course, of course,
When I'm
of
not
course,
sleeping, yes.
of course.
Right.
Great.
And
So,
to reiterate, anyone who deploys the chain, right, is an eligible chain is earns a share of the prize pool for that track. That's track one. Right. And then the composability track is
mhm,
so I think there's opportunities for a range of skills, right?
mhm,
I think our software engineer Jean does a great job walking through how to deploy a chain and then integrating it with Espresso. And if you do just that, register, just do that, you've already earned a share of the prize pool. And then obviously, if you want to get into building a cross-chain app,
mhm,
build a cross-chain, messaging protocol or a
mhm,
cross-chain NFT marketplace, where I
oh,
can buy an NFT, be on one
mhm,
chain, buy an NFT on another chain, but without
mhm,
having to bridge,
mhm,
that sort of thing. You can also, more skilled devs could, crank away over the weekend and have something ready to go. So there's, it's, obviously deadline's Monday, but I think there's still opportunities if for devs that have the time and interest.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, we just again talked about like the deadline, and we see the deadline is like April 1st, right? But
31st.
30th, 31st, right?
And then we're gonna extend 2 days. So
Oh,
Oh, we
especially
are.
because, yeah,
Breaking news.
I
Didn't know. Extension.
good news. Breaking
Let's
news for
go.
the community.
Let me
We're
tweet
gonna
that.
extend deadlines for more 2 days.
hmm
It's just like people will fine tune, people from Akindo community will be able like to build like a little bit more in depth. But I
hmm
need to say for first track, you are like you can literally launch a roll up in 3 hours and you're gonna have like a piece writing in Espresso Network ready. And this is a good leverage, especially if you want to be part of this community that you're building on. And the
hmm
second one, I need to say that a lot of devs are starting building their composable apps right now. So I don't think no one is behind. I think everyone has great opportunity, especially depending how much hours you're gonna put it from now on. And I'm excited for one, listening, like if anyone has any question, if anyone has any like idea as well, like always glad to hear and provide feedbacks and glad to see if something cool is gonna be built from a Akindo community.
Amazing, great. Did you get that, guys? Can the community? They're on, like they're ready. I mean, and then you guys have some time to, get the great opportunity to access the ground size pool, and then also going the journey with the amazing projects with Espresso. Amazing, great, great, great. Thank you. And then the most important thing I would like to know more here is then okay, how do we register and like anything to know, like anything they need to be careful about.
You wanna answer it? I'll let you finish with that.
How to register?
I mean, how to register and if you have any tips or anything they need to know.
Yeah, like
Oh, I
tips.
mean,
Yeah,
tips for the hackathon. Sorry. Yes.
yeah, for a hackathon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, register. There's a link, was Dora Hacks. Obviously, you could find it via that, but it's kind of a long link. We did set up a tiny URL, so tinyurl.com/build dash n dash brew. I don't know if there's a way to share my screen or share links via with the community from the stream. Is there actually? Or no?
Yeah.
Am I able to like share a screen or anything like that?
I don't know if it's like that. Maybe you can write it to Taka or here in the
hmm
Zoom, they can like post on their YouTube. I'm having like
Yes.
this sunrise facing my face here in Miami. Every time it's like this, like 9 a.m. here, and like I have the sunlights all the time on my face, so I keep shining.
You,
Um,
right. You look great. You
so
look great. It's like a cover photo.
maybe a summer photo.
Yeah.
So
Um,
one of someone in our community just Studio Ghibli-ized our espresso Akindo thing that was posted and on Twitter. It looks really awesome.
really, I
I
wanna
wanted to
try.
share that too.
Maybe a summer photo.
I can share the
Uh,
link. Someone in our
and also tips for the hackathon. What I would
hmm
say, like people asking me, Mariana, how can I mean a lot of hackers, they look for this, like how can I maximize my chance of winning, right? Or how can I maximize like the amount of like prize I can collect because my hour, my time is valuable. So we have a lot of track, we have two tracks, but we have different pool price, right? What I would do is I would first, okay, register, etc. You already got it. Enter Discord, solve any question you have, we're there. But then launch your rollup on Espresso. We are allowing two rollups launched per team. So launch two rollups, send all the information we are requesting on the submission guidelines. We
Mhm.
ask like pretty much three informations.
Mhm.
One is your create rollup transaction hash, because with this we can have like your rollup address or the contract address of your rollup. We need like your IP server. So we are asking you for self-host for a few days or like put your roll up in a cloud, your system in a cloud for like a few days so we can interact with your roll up and see if it's functional. And the third is just like the chain ID, the namespace ID. Only that. This is how you make your roll up eligible. You can launch your rollups on testnet. You can do the same for mainnet. Is it more expensive? It is, but there's trade-offs. You're gonna receive a price for
Mhm.
this because I'm telling that everyone that is eligible is getting piece of this
Mhm.
pool price. The pool price we have for the caffeinated code is in total like 50K. So the first, the testnet allows you 30K split it among everyone that submitted. The mainnet's 10, and then we have this side one that is like, oh, I'm not so technical, so what can I do? You can just submit an idea, pitch idea about what your roll up is about. What is your big plan for your roll up?
Mhm.
So I would do all these three. Launch your roll ups on testnet. Maybe launch one or two roll ups on mainnet. Submit all the requested info and make a good storytelling pitch for your roll up. Send all of that. You're gonna be getting the most you can from the first track. Going the second track, we have a database of ideas.
Mhm.
That is what people can build, like that I already mentioned here, like cross-chain lending, borrowing protocol, cross-chain NFT marketplace. Something we're playing around a lot and could be cool. Imagine like two systems. It could be like one app or this black box that you can interpret the way you want, but this would be
Mhm.
represented by a centralized exchange.
Mhm.
And this is the rollup you launch it. So imagine like someone wants to like withdraw or transfer funds from this like black box that you can interpret in any way. It could be like an app, a centralized an app. And like this app is allowing withdrawals and funds to be transferred just reading first person confirmations. This is a case that I would be telling, and we are pitching to hackers that if
Mhm.
someone also get this idea right, it can be very well seen because it's one of good value prop from Espresso that is providing faster and secure transactions to centralized exchange to allow
Mhm.
transfer of funds way faster than it is allowed today. Centralized exchange, they will rely on the layer one. They won't rely on a centralized sequencer. So this is a cool idea. Cross-chain lending borrowing as well is a cool idea. Anything that you can show this like, oh, I understand the problem. I have a solution, and the solution is reading from espresso confirmations. I think this is what we're gonna be looking for, like judging, analyzing the project in the second track. So this would be my tips if someone is building to it, and use Open Intents framework. We have a GitHub repo for this. All Dora Hacks has the links for everything you need, and maybe you want to interact with Hyperland contracts. Maybe you
Mhm.
want to like bring a cross together. Maybe you want to use another standard. Just mention to us
Mhm.
where you use the Open Intents framework in your GitHub repo, and you're gonna be also considered for this other pool prize. And I think these are all the tips I can give to hackers.
Yeah, more than I expected, actually. Great, great. If there's anything you want to add with, or Mariana did
No,
a
I
great
think,
job already. Yeah,
yeah, Mariana's covered it.
amazing, amazing, great, great, amazing. So I think like developers they can understand, how to like register and also what to like, be careful to be like noted, right? And then we actually have like some questions here on YouTube. And then maybe shall I go from like, the top, maybe some questions. And then I see like some questions from Saroy. Sorry. I'm not sure about like the pronunciation. But he asking how does Espresso's decentralized sequencing layer ensure censorship resistance without compromising maybe mitigation and then transaction finality speed.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? How does
Espresso's
tech from
decent
MEV?
How does Espresso's decentralized sequencing layer ensure censorship resistance without compromising the MVP mitigation and transaction finality speed? Yeah, can you just post it on
Oh,
our chat
yeah.
here too?
So, I mean, as far as like MEV goes, I mean, we're not doing any of the sequencing, right? So we're not touching that, right? The L2 has their centralized sequencer. They're doing all the sequencing. So, anything MEV related is at that, at that level, right? We're just confirming the ordered blocks. So, when it comes to like, if you're actually talking about censorship resistance, like technically it's a centralized sequencer. Technically that the L2 centralized sequencer could still censor your transaction. We're not necessarily claiming to be, uh, making these censorship resistant L2s, right? Um, it's more about holding the sequencers accountable and preventing them from equivocating, right? And so they can't, tell, one bridge, one thing about, their the new state and then tell, a user something else, right? It's that's what it's all about. And as far as the transaction finality speed, I'm not exactly sure what they're asking. I mean, we're not so Espresso again is additive, right? We're not ripping and replacing anything within the L2, like their sequencer or anything else. Nothing's stopping the centralized sequencer from still giving their pre-confirmation to their user. So like orbit chains, right, are have like 200 millisecond pre-confirmations, right? They can continue to give those 200 millisecond pre-confirmations to their users. They don't have to wait 5 seconds for espresso confirmation, but uh, that espresso confirmation is still available there for the other apps and bridges and stuff that want to be able to right, read a block and know that it's kind of secure and will match that L1 finality, as opposed to, again, just trusting the word of a centralized sequencer. But from a user perspective, nothing's stopping a chain from still using their existing pre-confirmations if they're faster than espressos. We are obviously, targeting getting our finality, speed down. Right now, as Mariana mentioned, it's 5-6 seconds, but we do plan to be reducing that as we optimize.
Yeah, I want to add as well something. A lot of people still have the assumption of espresso coming as this sequencing layer, and I think this was a lot about our previous year, how we are building like this decentralized sequencer, and after like this marketplace for sequencing, which is still on the roadmap and is still important for like synchronous composability when you're building blocks orchestrated like together with different rollups, right? That are connected with the same sequencer. So you can build blocks like together. I mean, we can explain this a little bit in better detail. But
Mhm.
right now, the product that Espresso is offering is really this fast, secure confirmation layer that is getting the
Mhm.
confirmation from the sequencer and promotes a way better UX slash security assumption. So this is the product right now. With that, we have the consensus that we already mentioned, like the hotshot consensus, and we have a DA component. So for us to
Mm.
have this consensus, we still have this DA component. So we make like data availability cheaper as well. But it's not our mainly value prop. It's just like a product that comes together that rollups can also like opt it in, opt out. They can use Celestia, they can use like EigenDA. It doesn't really like, of course, they can use us, but this is the product that Espresso has right now. The sequencer will come down the road and is still on the roadmap for like synchronous composability, but it's not what we are currently focusing on.
Mhm.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And then next one is also like a technical one from the same guy. So the person. Uh let me send this to and then How does Espresso reconcile inter-rollup composability with a potential latency introduced by cross-domain ordering dependencies? You get that?
Uh, so, again, building on what Mariana just said, you know, synchronous composability is certainly a goal at one point, but I think one of the realizations that we had over the last few years, in spending so much time speaking to roll-up operators and teams, is that the shared sequencing that will help get there was not really working. There's a social coordination problem, around everyone, expecting everyone to be able to basically give up a little bit of that sovereignty, give away, decentralize the sequencer, and then all agree on which shared sequencer to use. And so this the synchronous composability, right? I mean, I think that addressing the question, right, is the latency introduced by cross-domain ordering dependencies. I mean, if we had synchronous composability, there wouldn't be that latency. But that's not what we're claiming to solve right now. I guess the realization was that for the vast, majority of use cases, right, asynchronous, very fast, but asynchronous composability is sufficient. Right. I mean, synchronous composability, will be nice for certain use cases, right? Like flash loans, obviously, is like just the example that's always used. But for most use cases, it's fast async. So, the question about reconciling inter-role composability with the potential latency introduced by cross-domain ordering dependencies. I mean, yes, there will be, that slight latency. They're passing messages. Um, in 5 or 6 seconds. But we're not claiming to be, synchronous. So I'm not sure if I'm answering the question or if I understand it. Mariana, do you have a better answer?
I didn't know why I was muted, but I was muted. I think like if we are connected to L2s and we know like some like Arbitrum sometimes some Arbitrum layer 2s or layer 3s they post like into 150 milliseconds depending of course how they're gonna post on Espresso and how Espresso is gonna read from this pre-confirmation may vary. But like Espresso is still will build blocks in a matter of seconds, in a matter of 6 seconds and posting on the L1. So depending what time are we getting this happening from the roll up is where we're gonna have like our last block build and we're gonna be posting on the L1. Every integration is happening by stack, but of course the best scenario is where we like have a better sense of like the block building process and we can build all these blocks together and more synchronous. Right now we might have some delays depending how the rollup configuration is made. I mean, delay just mean like one chain might post like 250 milliseconds, another one might post like in 2 seconds, I don't know. And then we are gonna be taking these transactions, finalizing 6 seconds, and then posting that one, which is still better than just waiting for Ethereum like to finalize one block in 15 minutes.
Great, great. And then also, some guy asked, will it be first, faster mega ETH? Maybe it's like a related question, actually. I mean, it can be like a personal view.
Will we be as fast as Mega ETH? I mean, that's not the goal at the moment, but you know, we're not trying to be, claiming to be a real-time
Not a
blockchain.
rollup.
Amazing, amazing, great. I think that's it for the question from the audience side. And then I think this one is a very cool one. Also, you guys trying to web hack in the future too. So maybe that will be shared soon, hopefully. I don't know. But great. So I think the Espresso team like gonna share like a lot than like we expected in those, and then also the details of like what they're trying to do here. So I think that's very satisfying a session. I hope. And then before we conclude, I'd like to have like any like closing remarks or like a final insights or encouragement, you'd like to offer to our audience. Love to have that too.
I
So
will. I'll add that if people are interested, obviously Mariana mentioned joining the Discord, which would be great. We actually have our first community call happening in like 2 hours.
2 hours.
We'd be able to get details on that, either checking out our, X timeline or joining the Discord and finding that it'll be a live stream. But,
Hmm.
we'll be talking a little bit about, the Espresso network, but also, more about community vision. We have we're also launching a community creator program. So,
Mm-hmm.
engaging members of the community to be generating, more kind of content, educational, but, everything across the board, just about espresso to get, help further spread the word. And then we also have an update on an NFT kind of launch that we'll have, for our community as well. So
Hmm.
that will be, yeah, like I said, in 2 hours, 12 p.m. Eastern. But
Hmm.
I go to time zone, so I don't know what time zone that is in where you are. But
I'm in Tokyo, Japan, 10:40 p.m. Yeah.
it's 10:40 p.m. Okay. Oh yeah, so it'll be after midnight for you.
Mhm.
So, but that's happening. What else?
What
Yeah, I
else?
mean,
I think is that let's is have hacking and let's keep started. I think we're
yeah,
excited to have more of you with us and just hit us up, and we're glad to support this journey in reading and getting connected with Espresso community.
yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Great. So,
Someone on Twitter recently said, "When are you going to be in Kyoto?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I would love to visit Japan, so maybe we'll make that happen."
please,
Yeah,
please.
I think we're really gonna make it happen.
Great.
Please, everyone, support us with that. Show us you
Yeah,
want espresso in Tokyo. Let's try
Yes.
to tag
Some
espresso
conferences are
in
happening like
Tokyo.
next month and also in the summer too. So yeah, please let us know.
cool. At
Great,
Perfect.
least
great.
we'll at least host an espresso brews. We have this like a series of like kind of like happy hour events where we kind of pop around the world.
Hmm. Cool, 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 cool. Let's do it. Let's do it. Great. So in 2 hours, like
It's community.
community
Yep.
call. I mean, yeah, better check it out. And then also,
Yep.
if there's any questions anytime, and then Espresso team can then also can answer on a Discord too. If you guys have any question from developer side, right?
Correct. Yes, correct. Yep, Discord's
Right.
the best place.
Great.
One thing I did mention
Hmm.
also is that
Hmm. Hmm.
last month we there was the Espresso Foundation
Hmm.
was created, and so that you can find out more about that.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know, probably on maybe on Discord or Twitter, I guess. But
Hmm.
Espresso Foundation is the website. So the foundation is obviously, was created to kind of be the long-term steward
Hmm.
of the Espresso network, as we further kind of decentralize development and everything like that. Espresso Systems, right, is the company that originally developed the technology and is who Mariana and I work for. But Espresso
Hmm.
Foundation will be kind of the long-term stewards, and they'll be handling, like, as I said, the migration to proof of stake. There will be a token at one point. So that's all also happening, lots going on. So if you
Lots
want to
going
be
on.
interested, now is a good time to jump into the Espresso community and be an active member.
Right? Like follow Espresso account and then keep updated. Most important thing. Great,
Absolutely.
great, great. Anything from Mariana or
No, it's all of that. I think I spoke too much. Just
no?
yeah, wanna just connect with the builders now. Gonna be waiting for everyone on our Discord or even
Mm,
like register the hackathon.
you'll have a lot of questions on Discord. 100%.
Do
Great.
we have a Japanese channel? I don't even know in our Discord, Mariana.
I think so. I think so.
Okay, cool.
If we don't have, we can build it. We can just speed this up.
100%. Amazing. Amazing. Great. As a reminder to the audience that if you guys are interested in participating in the Build and Brew Hackathon, be sure to register at the hackathon registration link. You can find in the bottom of the Luma page, or you can just Google Build and Brew Hackathon, and then you'll find there. Great. So stay tuned for more updates and events from Akindo too, and then we look forward to see you at our next session. Great. Thank you, Espresso team. Thank you, Wait. Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you,
Thank
Taka.
you.
Great.
All right.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
See
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for
Done?
great. Yeah.
Cool.
It's
Thank
done.
you
Thank
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you for great